What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Steve here, Raiken Profit. Welcome to another live Green Room show. Tonight we've got Tino The Sole Advisor on the show. What's going on, everybody? Chris, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll pass it over to our guest.
What's up, guys? I'm the Bonafide Hustler. My name is Chris. In real life, believe it or not, I buy and resell stuff I find from garage sales, estate sales, yard sales, flea markets, pawn shops, swap meets, big box stores, and I put it on places like eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, my antique booth, and consignment stores in town. I do put this part-time, and the other set of the time, I am running the Green Room University with Raiken Profit, and that's the other guy on the screen right there. What's up, Raiken?
What's going on, man? Excited for the show. Tino, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about who you are? But before you do, the title of the show, guys, and we spent some time creating this. We wanted to make the most epic title to get you guys in for some cool content. From quitting his job to selling $208,000 on eBay in 2016. So it's going to be crazy. With that being said, who are you, man? What do you do? Tell everybody about your story.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, my name is Tino. And yeah, I kind of started off working in the pawn business. So I was in the pawn business for 7 years, and man, I just got worn out. I was working so hard. I got promoted all the way up. It was a medium-sized chain, and I tell you what, I just got burned out. I just ended up walking out of that job. So, but when I walked out, I didn't have another job lined up. So I started valeting parking cars in Dallas, Texas. And man, I got to meet a lot of really cool people, and it just, there was no future in that. That's the thing. It was fun. It was great money. There's no future in that. So I was on a dead end road there. And then what I did is, while I was working, man, while I was running, I broke my big toe, and that's pretty painful. And I was laid up for 6 weeks, and I was sitting in a recliner drinking beer for 6 weeks straight. And I'm like, I need to do something. I was getting stir crazy. So I got on Craigslist, and it was just looking for cool stuff to buy. I wanted to start spending money. Well, I found this lot of lighters, old vintage lighters. This guy inherited them. He had 1,500 lighters, and he was selling them all for $2 a piece. So I drove down there, picked up about 400 lighters, resold them.
Wow.
From that point, I was hooked. So I started off selling just vintage stuff, collectibles, antiques, little small stuff. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment at that time, and I didn't have a warehouse, so I just wanted to target small things that I could flip and make money. So that's just kind of like the backstory of me right there.
Man, that is a story, Raiken, isn't it?
Dude, that's a pretty epic story.
So it seems like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but if you do refresh your video, you should be fine now. It was holding, the screen was sitting there like this, and I was going like that, and it was freezing. Anyway, okay, so so essentially you started your reselling, your knowledge of resell with the pawn shop, right? Right,
and I think what I learned there was how to research items, what they're worth. And I think that's the key when you're reselling. If you know how to research, you're golden. So when
you actually started when did you actually first start eBay?
That was probably back in 2013. Well, okay. I mean, I actually had my account since 2006, but that was just me buying stuff. I didn't really start selling till about 2013 or maybe late of 2012.
Okay. You do have a YouTube channel, which you started relatively recently. What is your YouTube channel so everyone in the feed can follow you?
Tino The Sole Advisor, and it's SOLE Advisor, and that's because I sell shoes.
Okay. So of all the things, why shoes? Actually, that's the next question. Sorry.
Okay.
So what attracted you so much to selling shoes in the first place? Like, as opposed to every other product and the benefits of other products, you pick shoes.
Right. It's kind of a weird story, but I was doing pretty good selling antiques and collectibles, but there was no way I could, me personally, of what the knowledge that I had is to move that full time. I couldn't scale it because I couldn't find that many items to go full time and quit my job. But I was at an estate sale here in Dallas, and these estate sales are brutal, man. They got these women in there. They're on a mission, man. They want to buy the curtains. They want to buy the knickknacks on the wall, and I'm just letting them go buy them, or I'm not as crazy as they are. So, I mean, they were going up and down this hallway, and I just kind of backed off into this hallway closet. And I looked down and there's a pair of Lucchese boots. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if anybody would buy, you know, used shoes or boots. You know, I picked them up. They were $10. Went home and sold them. And it only took 2 weeks for them to sell. And they sold for $100. And that's when the light bulb went off. And I'm like, you know what? That's the most overlooked item. In my brain, it made sense. Man, I was so happy. It was like, I was watching videos, how to find your niche, man. I was going through everything. And, you know, I'm working with all these guys valeting, and I told them, I said, guys, you know, they thought of me as like one of the American pickers, you know, and they're all happy and rooting for me. But once I was so happy, and I'm like, guys, I'm selling shoes. I figured it out. And they're like, okay, good luck. You know, there's nothing sexy about shoes, but man, I tell you what,
well, everyone needs them, you know, like here in the USA, everyone's got shoes on. I mean, we're not like in Botswana or anything. Like everyone
and
wears
they're expensive
shoes.
Too.
Well, some are expensive, but a lot can be expensive. Yeah, exactly. You know, if you know where to source, and people with really, really super amazing jobs and people that want to be hip and all that kind of stuff, those shoes are usually, you know, $100 plus pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So unless you're a hustler, and then you get them for $10. So let's talk about exactly where do you source majority of your shoes?
I would say probably the really large thrift stores. You know, I've really tried to be efficient when I'm out sourcing. So I'll hit the large thrift stores in Dallas. There's like Thrift Giants. There's Texas Thrift. You know, really large stores to where I'm walking out with like 3 trash bags full of shoes. You know, I don't really go out of my way to hit a Goodwill. If it's on my way, I'm going to stop in there and grab and see what I can get. But I try to get the most I can from one shot. So thrift stores is probably my primo spot.
This is not one of the questions on it, but do you have a typical, how do I say it? Do you have like baseline? $30 is my minimum. That's it. That's what I want to work with. What is your magic number?
You know what? My average sale price for last year, you know, I sold a little over 3,800 pairs of shoes, but my average price was, you know, if I'm counting the shipping as well, it was right at $54. Was my
ASP
average
at 54 price. Is pretty decent, but you said you're counting in your okay, but an ASP at 54 is pretty high. It
is, and that's where shoes made sense for me, you know. So, but you know, when I'm at the Thrift Giant, my average cost for shoe is right around $4. Sometimes I'll get them as low as $2 and as high as $7 to $8. But then if I go to like, let's say a Goodwill, it's higher, it's closer to $8. And then if I hit like Plato's Closet, Uptown Cheapskate, Clothes Mentor, then it's closer to $20. And then sometimes if I go to like a consignment store, like if I'm just out on the road and I'm goofing off and we're going out to dinner and I see in a consignment store, I'll pay $40 or $50 for a pair of shoes.
So let me jump in really quick, guys. So I don't think we mentioned it before. Obviously, it's in the title, but 2016, you sold what? 208,000. Was that just shoes?
That was just shoes. Yeah.
So you sold 208,000 in overall sales. It's not profit, right? But $208,000 worth of shoes in 2016. And we were talking before, and you said 2015. That's when you quit your job, right?
It was actually at the very end of 2014 is when I quit my job.
So you quit your job, 2015, you went full force. You quit your job, you went full force into eBay. Was that all shoes in 2015 as well?
Yeah, now there was still some leftover clothing because, you know, I tackled a lot of different things, a lot of antiques and collectibles. So I was kind of filtering out of that, and I just wanted to just go full force and drill really deep into shoes.
And you did what, 100 and you mentioned it before the show.
In 2015, it was like right around 173,000.
So this guy does 173,000, quits his job late 2014, does $173,000 in overall sales in 15, and then 16 you come up to bat like, listen, I'm not good with just a triple. I'm hitting a home run, and you pull out 208,000. What do you think if you had to guess? We're not going to dive too deep into the personals, but if you had to guess on a shoe overall, what's your average rate of profit? 25%, 35%, higher, lower? What would you have to say?
It's got to be 100 or more.
Yeah,
on average.
Yeah, it's pretty close to 100.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty close to 100. Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, it made perfect sense to me. You know, a lot of people, they're not into it. You know, I've talked to a lot of people and they're just like, people I don't want to touch shoes. You know, I even hired an employee at one time and he didn't want to touch shoes. You know, he's just like, it's like, okay, well, you know, it's a dirty job, but
it can be. I love hustling shoes. I love it. In fact, yesterday we were going indoor rock climbing, my wife and I, and she's like, oh, I don't like to go rock climbing because my shoes hurt so bad. So I went to my garage. I opened up a prepackaged poly bag thing. I pulled out these brand new pair of La Sportiva shoes and I just tossed it to her. I was like, here, try these on real quick. She tried them on. She's like, oh my God, they're so much better. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Give me your other ones and I'll sell those. Yeah. But that's essentially, like, I love shoes. If it's climbing shoes, you know, athletic shoes, hiking boots, cowboy boots, doesn't really matter. Shoes they're wonderful to deal with. And let me ask you this. Do you do the shoe box on USPS or no? Do you mess with that thing?
Yeah, I do. That's my main box that I.
My main box, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I've been able to stuff a size 15 running shoe back to back in that thing. Can you believe it?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
But that thing probably got really smushed like when it was on the other side. Like, but anyway, yeah, about size 15 running. After that, anything with a higher cuff or ankle, they won't fit in that thing. So let's go back to this one question. Do you have any tips for finding great shoe deals for the people out there that are now going, holy crap? And before you get to the answering that question, hey, guys in the feed and girls in the feed and ladies in the feed and women in the feed and aliens in the feed, do you guys hustle shoes? Like, you know, straight up, even if it's like one a year, like, do you hustle shoes? Is it a dirty, stinky job? You know, let us know. And then we're going to get some more tips out of Tino here about his shoe hustle. But yeah, it's like clothing, Raiken, right? Shoes are everywhere. If you're going to have thrift stores with clothing, you're going to have thrift stores with shoes. It just goes hand in hand, right?
I absolutely, I mean, obviously I don't do the volume that Tino does, but shoes are like literally one of my favorite items, and there's so many of them. And I don't know, man, I go into a lot of thrift stores in my area, and like the clothes might even be picked over, sometimes the books, but there's always shoes laying around. There's so many opportunities.
Shoes in Austin, like always.
Every time I go thrifting with Chris, I'd say honestly, man, one of the number one items that you always pick up, I've noticed from hanging out with you over the last 3 years, is you always pick up shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
I do. I like them. I could show you thousands of pictures. I'm telling you, like I have archives of this crap. But yeah, shoes are fun. I mean, they're just fun to hustle. Usually they're one and done. A lot of times no returns. It's a good thing to hustle. It's not like electronics where you can get scammed. Like usually with shoes, you're not going to get scammed. Like you're just not going to get scammed. I mean, I don't know. I don't do Jordans or any of that crazy Adidas Yeezy Boost stuff. That's a little over my head, but I'll deal with what he's dealing with. So let's talk about inspecting shoes, because a lot of people that are like, okay, so maybe I'll get into this after this show. I'll start looking deeper into it. What are some of the biggest things to avoid when you're inspecting shoes? Like what kind of goes through your head, Tino?
Yeah, well, when I go down the rack, because I'm fast. I'm a crazy person. When I go into a thrift store, you know, I'm just like, I'm there for business. You know, I'm not there just goofing off. So when I go down there, I'm just scanning over the brands, and whenever I see a brand, that's when I pick it up, and I'll do a couple tests on it. I'll do like a bend test. Like these are Borns, which I don't sell a whole lot of Borns, like women's Borns, but if they're boots, I'll pick those up. But like Borns and Echo, and another one is San Antonio shoes, also known as SAS shoes. And any of them that have that sole, what I do is I do a bend test, and sometimes they crack.
Damn.
Whoa.
So they'll just crack. And then what I do is I just put them right back up on the shelf, and I just keep going. So, but another thing is like when I see a quality shoe, is I look at the bottom of, see what the wear is right here. Because on a men's shoe, this is the first thing that goes. And this can be replaced too, so you kind of want to see what the shoe is worth. And if you want to replace that sole, because, you know, I have a good, you know, I'm in good with my local cobbler here. You know, the more shoes I give him, the better the deal he hooks me up with. But, you know, this part right here goes, and it's less than $20 to get new heels put on a pair of shoes.
Raiken, did you know that a shoe doctor is called a cobbler? Yes or no, Raiken?
No.
Be honest with us.
No.
You didn't know that? Dude, a cobbler sounds like something you get after barbecue in Austin, Texas. But that's cool. So you know your that sounds so funny. Hey man, check out my cobbler. I got him on speed dial on my phone. Cobbler on speed dial on my phone. That's pretty awesome though. But yeah, so shoe hospitals. I'm having drinks with my cobbler tonight. So your cobbler's like, he sees you coming in every now and then, right?
Right. Yep.
When you go to a cobbler, do you usually bring in boots, or are you bringing in wingtips? These are things that are probably, because the cobbler's going to have to ask for some money too.
Right, absolutely.
They're doing a job just like you are. So what type of shoe goes to the cobbler? Usually a high-end shoe, right?
It's usually a high-end shoe, yeah, because I'm not going to invest any money on a pair of shoes that I'm going to sell for $30. You know, so what I'm going to do is just like wingtips, men's wingtips.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and even like these
what do you pay the cobbler to do? Like the back part or the whole sole?
It depends on the shoe. Like this particular shoe is a pair of Aldens, and it's shell cordovan is the material. So this is an extremely high-end shoe, and I picked it up at Thrift Giant for $3. But it had a hole. I could stick my finger all the way through it, and the soles were shaved down at the back. So, you know, and I put the premium sole on here, so I paid him $80 to fix it.
$80, Raiken. Tune in on that. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Boy, I know I saw you coughing there, Raiken. But anyway,
yeah, but I have these listed for $300.
$80. Okay, so listed for $300. Long tail, probably, right?
It is. Yep. Sure.
Long tail.
What brand is that?
Yeah. What brand was that again?
It's called Alden or Alden, Alden.
I've actually sold a pair of those for what was it, like 150 or something like that, and that was like a quick flip. I could have went more long tail and waited it out. I actually learned about that brand from Hart's Motor Company, Hart's Pickers.
Oh yeah, that guy, he knows his shoes too.
Oh, he
knows
does
his shoes.
Yeah.
That's cool. So were those penny loafers or no?
Yeah, these are penny loafers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So any other tips for finding great shoe deals?
I would suggest, like, if you're starting off selling shoes, what I would do is hit the bigger thrift stores, because you're just going to get discouraged going to like a Goodwill. I mean, you might find a pair, you might not. So if you don't see a lot, you're less likely to get hooked. So I would say hit the bigger the thrift store, the better.
Okay, cool. Are there any this question on this, it's not written correctly.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
I'll read it
what does the question
I'll read
say?
It to you. I'll read it to Raiken, you did this outline. So
this is how Raiken creates an outline.
We're going to have some fun here. This is going to be it. Are there any damaged people that you should avoid completely? Oh, okay. This is what he's saying, Tino. Is there any damages that people should avoid completely?
Sure. Yeah. The number one thing that I avoid, that I don't even think about, it doesn't matter how high end the brand is. If there is a tear or the rip inside the leather up on the uppers, just pass on it. I even the other day I found a pair of Lucchese crocodile boots that I could fit my whole hand inside from the side.
That's a very common thing on some of those crocodile ones, actually.
Sure. Yeah. You're right.
Or snake or any of that.
Yeah.
Do you have how close are you and your cobbler? Like, how tight are you and the cobbler?
You know, we don't go out. We don't have beers. We don't do that. It's strictly business, but you know what? We enjoy doing business together. And I think that's
late night text him like a snapshot of something that you saw in a thrift store, like, hey, cobbler, check out this.
Here's the question. If your car broke down and you called him, he can pick you up.
You know, I probably would call him. If he was, if I was in his area, I would. So.
He's like, I got a few more shoes to repair, but I'll be out there as soon as possible.
Like, the car broke down. I feel like I'm going to have to walk home. It's going to be a really long distance. Do you have any shoes you can bring to me?
Can you match up my tire?
There's a lot of times where he'll take a long time cleaning shoes, but you know what? I don't want to get on his bad side. I just let him.
So you're the kind of guy who walks in and he kind of gives preferential treatment to, right?
Yeah, he does. He likes me when I walk in there. Yeah.
Do you tip? Let me ask you this. So the cobbler charges you some money. Do you ever over tip?
You know what? I have.
Interesting.
I have, because he's done some extra stuff for me. And anytime he does extra stuff and he's like, I'm not going to charge you for that.
Oh, that's cool.
I tip him for that.
What if he bumps you in line? He's like, things are really busy, but hey, man, let's take care of this. Like, would you tip him for that?
You know what? I'm sure he does do that, but he's never really told me that he does. So it's that. I don't know how often that does happen.
How much does a cobbler make a year? What do you think, Tino?
Dude, you're like mesmerized by this cobbler guy.
No, but I'm kind of interested, because if the cobbler figures out that you're making this much,
right? Well, I'll tell you this:
the
cobbler actually asked me, "Where are you buying your shoes from?"
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but I know he doesn't have time to go out and start thrifting. He's a busy person. So, but he is interested in what I do. And when I brought him these Aldens, this is when he asked me, where did you find these? Can you write down the name of the thrift store?
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's cool. So then you might that's when you have something really good, when the cobbler's down. Like, that's cool, man. So the next question was, do you ever repair the shoe yourself, Tino?
Yeah, I do. Like something simple, like this right here. Like here's a pair of Clark's Originals.
Yep.
And when this happens, like
Whoa.
this, I don't know if you guys can see that.
You glue them?
I glue them.
Shoe glue. I knew it.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Shoe glue.
So
yeah,
do you
I do that.
disclose it, or do you put a weight down on it? Like, how do you make sure that design's perfect?
What I do is
Like
I
a
make
clamp or
sure.
something?
Yeah, I use a clamp.
Okay.
I don't have that here to show you guys, but I do use a clamp. But I do a professional job. I'll make sure it doesn't even look like it's ever been repaired.
Okay. Cool.
And if I'm successful at that, then I don't disclose it.
Okay.
Because they don't. The customer doesn't know if I found it that way or what. So.
Yeah. Okay. This is not part of the outline, but of the 3,800 that you sold last year, how many came back?
My return rate is anywhere between 3.75% to 4%.
Okay.
And I stay. There has been one time where it jumped up over 4%. I mean, there's just some times where you're just like, what is going on? We're getting a return every day. And then after that, it just kind of tapers down to where it's like, man, when was our last return? You know?
Okay.
But for the most part, I would say anywhere between 3 points, you know, for 100 pair of shoes, 4 will get returned.
And if you have an ASP of 54, my guess is many times you don't get them sent back, do you? Do you just let them keep them?
It depends on, it depends. Something like this, I'll have them return, you know.
Yeah.
If it's a $25 pair of shoes. And it, you know, it really depends because I have it set up to where they pay for the return shipping.
Okay.
You know, if they don't fit, and that's for 90% of my returns, it's because they don't fit. If they say it's not described correctly, well, then that's my fault. Keep the shoes, throw them away, donate them, do whatever you want with them. So that's how I handle that situation.
Okay. Raiken, you want to get some of those questions out? We're on page 2.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also want to interject as well. You might have missed it at the top of the outline. We're going to be giving away something free at the end of the show.
Oh,
so what do you think people should do in order for this contest to even go down? Because I'm trying to figure out what to give away. It's going to be something epic. It's going to be something educational. So what do you think? 200 likes?
200 likes.
And subscribe to.
What are we going to do? 1 month, 30 days of bolos or something else or what?
A lot of people are saying they want to get in the green room. So maybe we can do like 2 months free in the green room or something like that.
Okay.
So
something good.
If we hit 200 likes, we're going to do it. And then if you win, you're going to have to make sure that you like Tino's YouTube channel, which is in the description, like the third link down. So stick around, guys. We're gonna have a pretty cool contest in about, I don't know, maybe 20-25 minutes or so.
Yeah, pay attention, guys. Pay attention.
Where did we leave off on the outline? Why don't you keep going?
I'll keep going. So here we go. Page 2. Man, Raiken's outline's like, this is thorough, man.
We're at part 2.
Not yet. So what goes through your mind when you find a pair of shoes that you're considering purchasing it, Tino? Analyze, get a pair of shoes behind you real quick and take us through what's going on real quick.
Yeah, like I was saying before.
Give me like an everyday pair. Is that an everyday pair?
Yeah, this is, well.
Give me something that like, most people in America could find.
I see this just about in any thrift store. It's called Florsheim.
I always see that brand.
Right. Anyone's going to see it. This is a bread and butter brand, I don't build my business off of a $300 pair of shoes because I'm only going to see one of these every 3 months, This is why I'm in business right here. These $30 pair of shoes right here. So anyone can see these shoes when you go to your local Goodwill or your thrift store. And
yeah, that's pretty much you're right. I didn't expect you to pull out that thing. So
it's like always in the
store.
That's
an always shoe right there.
And what are you paying for that?
This one was, it was half off this day. So $3. So it was $5.99. It was half off, so I paid $3.
Crazy low on his.
Yeah, our prices are double that in Connecticut for the shoes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So take us through that shoe. Like, what's going on through your head? You pull it off the shelf. What are you doing now? Talk to us.
Okay, so now what I want to do is just make sure it's not damaged. So what I'll do is I just run my finger right down the side right here. If there's a soft spot in here, on a cheaper shoe like this, I just put it right back up on the shelf. I don't mess with it. Well, that passed. I look at this part. Man, I got the whole sole, the whole heel is intact. It's ready to go. I look at the inside wear of the heel because that's the third part that really goes away. It's in great shape. They are used, but.
What about the bend test on that? Would you bend something like that?
I do. I'll do the bend test on this. Just make sure, sometimes the leather will start cracking right here. So, I'll do the bend test and, we're good.
I never knew about the bend test, Tino. I never knew about that.
Oh, man. I don't know if it's the Texas heat, which I hate, but the shoes hate it too. And I think it's the Texas heat because, I uploaded a video about the bend test on certain brands you should watch out for. And, man, people were commenting and they were like, I've never had a pair of shoes, and I'll tell you what, every time I go out thrifting, a pair of shoes will crack on me. So,
yeah. So okay, so that's what's going on through your head. Now, what about what's the price going on through your head? You've done a 3,800 shoes. Clearly, you're thinking without even looking it up. This is a $35, $40 pair. What is that thing to you?
This right here will sell right around $28. I think I'm going to price it at $27.99, and to me, it's not quite a $30 shoe, and it's more expensive than a $25 shoe. So I just kind of put it right there in the middle.
Okay, cool. About how long is that thing going to last in your store?
This right here will probably be about a 2-month wait.
2-month wait. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out your conversion of the 4. Okay, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were to tell me that I could invest in a stock at $4 and then I can sell it for 20, because essentially after fees, that's what you're looking at.
Right.
Then that's 5 times my money. Yeah, okay. It's pretty good. That's pretty good in 2 months. Yeah. Any person would take that stock bet. Yeah.
Sure.
Be a fool not to. Pretty cool. Okay. What is something behind you that would sell within 1 week? Do you got something behind you? Give me something that's like, oh man, this is definitely gold right here.
Yes. Yeah. Hold on 1 second.
Does he have the wireless headphones on? Because if I want to get a pair of those.
Man, I tell you what, I found these. And that's another part, I was getting my oil changed, and man, I can't stay still. I got to find something. So I'm on my phone, and I found these wireless headphones. Somebody actually misspelled them in the listing. So I got them. These are what bikers wear, like if you're a biker, because you can actually still hear, but it's bone conducting technology to where
that's awesome.
So a lot of cyclists will wear these, and I got them really cheap.
Raiken, have you ever put on a pair of bone conducting headphones?
I don't think I have though, but I'm pretty intrigued.
Yeah, they're really I have some for swimming, so if I swim underwater, like I can listen to like techno music and stuff. It's crazy.
No way.
Yeah, I swear.
Awesome.
It conducts through your bone. Like it's crazy. It's
It's a
wild.
private label idea.
They're called Finis, Finis.
Okay,
so
these are called Treks.
So so that's nice. Is that a FootJoy? What is that thing?
Yeah. Wow, man. See,
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, FootJoy. And I'll tell you what, guys, FootJoy Classics with the leather sole like this, and in this kind of condition, this will bring in $100.
Holy crap!
Wow.
$100.
I might have missed one of those the other day. I don't know if it had the leather at the bottom, but I passed on one because the condition, it was just a little dirty and whatnot, but I wasn't sure about it.
That's a great house. So what you didn't buy that one for $4. What did you buy that one for?
I actually found this one for $2, and what? I know, and that's not typical, but it was $4 marked in the store, and I got it for half off.
Man, you better hope the Cobbler's not watching this show, man.
Dude, the Cobbler is just sweating right now.
He is, dude. He's about to close his store down.
Now again, this is a home run, and I don't come across home runs a lot, but this is something, man. I was so happy in that store.
That's great. I just sold a FJ. I think it might have been those, but they're not as ornate as that because that's like more wingtip style, right?
Yeah.
I sold some A&M branded FootJoys for like $79 the other day, $74, something like that.
They
like branded with a college team kind of thing, Oh
wow, yeah.
Took like 4 or 6 months, something like that. It was a little bit more long tail.
You just have to wait for the right buyer.
Yeah, and I paid up for them too, like around $20. So that's pretty interesting. So now let's talk about. So we've analyzed the shoe. What are your top 5 brands of shoes that you're like, all right, this is low risk, sells very well. What are the 5 brands?
Number 1, I would say Cole Haan.
Okay. That's in everyone's thrift store, man. Right, Raiken? Everyone's thrift store.
All over the place. Sometimes priced a little high because they know about it, but great brand.
Yep, Cole Haan. And then the second one I would say is Johnston & Murphy.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
So that's like the runner-up. And you'll see just about as many as those. And then third, I put 2 in there because they kind of go hand in hand. One's Dansko, and the other one is Sanita.
Say that. What's the last one again? I know Dansko very well. What's the other one?
Sanita. Sanita.
And you have to be in the women's section to find that one, right?
Sanita.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Dansko is all women's for the most part.
Yeah. And now Dansko and Sanita used to be the same company. I don't know how long ago, but they broke off, but they're making the same shoe.
So when you find some Dansko clogs or something, you get kind of excited?
I do. Oh, big time. Yeah.
The guy that gets excited with some Dansko clogs, man, dude.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, this show is definitely the show here.
And then
what's the fifth one? What was the fourth one? Fifth one?
The fourth one is Alan Edmonds.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You won't see as many of those, and you still have to be semi-picky on that. But yeah, Alan Edmonds, and then the last one is Echo.
Echo. Wow. So Echo, really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to mention Red Wings.
Red Wings is good too, but you know what?
If your shipping
goes higher on Red Wings,
you're not going to find Red Wings every day. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, I made a video the other day, and my good friend, one of my best friends, he lives a town over, and I was at the Salvation Army, and I saw a pair of boots, and I was just being lazy. Like, I can't lie about it. Like, I was just being lazy, and I didn't flip over the boot, and I'm not an expert with shoes, and I just passed on it, and the next day he's like, hey, man, check out what I got, and he shows me, because we met up at Savers, he shows me in the back of his truck, he's like, check out these boots I got at the Salvation Army, and I'm like, what the heck is that? He's like, it's Red Wing boots. It was like $5. And I'm like, oh my God, I saw that. I never flipped it.
Really? They're so obvious, dude. Red Wings
are obvious.
I just dropped the ball big time. Like,
ooh.
Just a Raiken profit fail.
Oh.
You know what, I think we all drop the ball. The only thing is we're not reminded about it the next day, like you did. So
yeah, right. He just runs out. Hey, look what I got. Screw you.
That's funny. Of course, people probably want to know this, but what is the most profitable shoe flip you've ever had? Everyone knows their most profitable item for the most part. What was yours?
For shoes, it was a pair of Aldens. Man, I do a lot of picking trips. I'll go all the way up to Wisconsin because I got family up in Wisconsin. So in Madison, Wisconsin, I found a pair of Alden lace-up ankle boots. I found them at a St. Vincent thrift store for $18, and we ended up selling them for $475.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because you're in the category of like Wolverine, 1,000 Mile, all that kind of stuff. That's the category. That's a whole different category boot. You have like lace up all the way up. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
That's like, you're right. You don't find that every day at all.
No, not at all.
But those are beautiful because they're pretty. Once you find them, are we talking about the ones that almost look like wingtips and they're laced all the way up? Those kind?
These were almost, I know what you're talking about because that's more of a dress boot, but these look more like a combat boot.
Oh, what? Whoa, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and if I remember right, I mean, it was a year ago when I sold these, but I think they were called Alden X or X.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know.
For extra money in your pocket.
Yeah.
Amazing. What's the biggest mistake you see beginners making when they start selling shoes? Like someone wants to follow in your footsteps, someone wants to start making some money, paying some car payments and paying a house down just because of shoes and putting food on the table because of shoes. What's the biggest mistake people try to follow in your footsteps and they're beginners? Like, what do you think?
I think the number one thing is pricing. They don't know how to price their merchandise. And I think that comes hand in hand on knowing your product. But even when they get to know it, they don't know how to price it because, when you see something, let's say these shoes right here, not these particular ones, but you're looking it up and one person sells it for $75. But the average price is right around 35 or 40. Everyone's going to get lucky. And I see it a lot on eBay. I'm like, how could they sell those shoes for that much? And you see that, but they think a lot of newbies, and I was there, I've done it too, is I say, hey, somebody else paid $75 for it. Let me list it for $75. Well, come on, it's not going to happen again. So
cool.
So I think that's the number one problem. And it really depends on how you structure your business. I'm more into quantity, so I'm going to price it a lot more competitive versus somebody who runs it more of as a hobby. You can price it up a little bit and you don't mind if you sit on it for a year. So,
hey, I got a question. Do you mind if I jump in, Chris?
Yep.
There was a question that came in asking about, based on your business model with the shoes that you're going after, what do you think's a good inventory size somebody should work up to if they did want to go full time and maybe make, let's just say, an extra couple $1,000s a month, $2,000 to $3,000 a month profit. In your opinion, obviously, with your business model, how many items would you have to be able to get kind of to that full-time point?
Go full-time. I have a huge advantage, and this is something I wanted to say at the beginning, and I never did, but, my wife works with me, and I'm very fortunate because I don't know, very few people can actually work with their spouse. Very few to run a business. It's hard, that's difficult. So I'm fortunate, she's fortunate. We can work together to where I could be out thrifting and she could be here listing, and that being said, I mean, we went full time when we had about 750 pairs of shoes listed. Now,
Oh, wow.
take in mind, it's like any other business starting out. Yeah, all we ate was beans and rice and macaroni and cheese and ramen noodles for the first, probably for the first year, but that's, we did that. So.
Cool. So do you have about 1,000 shoes in your house right now?
Right now, we probably got close to 2,000.
Whoa.
How many shoes do you sell on average with a 2,000 inventory?
Now with 2,000, I would say of what we're shipping out every day would be an average of 12 pairs of shoes a day.
Okay.
12 pairs of shoes a day. Man, if the cobbler came over, his head would start spinning.
Right.
2,000 shoes in your house? Is that what you said?
Yeah, right now, well, we've actually, at the end of last year, that's when we had 2 employees listing, and we actually got it up to 2,200 pairs of shoes in our 2-car garage. So, I mean, it's all organized. Everything has a location and everything. But
will you do me a favor at the end of the show? Will you snap a picture of the garage and send it to Raiken or myself, and we'll put it in the green room just to say this is the person we interviewed today?
Absolutely, sure.
I just want to see this is I've got to see it now. I want to know what 2,200 pairs of shoes or 2,000 pairs of shoes looks like. Raiken, it's got
right now it's closer to 1,800, but yeah.
1,800. I would freak out if you were to toss your business over to me for a week. Be like, hey man, just take care of everything. I'd freak out.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah, systems. You're right. Part 2, listing your shoes. So how do you clean your shoes? Do you clean every pair of shoes? Yes or no?
I sanitize every pair of shoes. Well, for the most part, when they look brand new, I don't. I'm not going to waste time on stupid stuff. So I'm not going to do that. But for the most part, I wipe it down with what they call leather cleaner.
Okay.
I just mix it up in a spray bottle like this.
Lots of leather stuff. You're doing a lot of leather shoes, right?
That's where the money's at.
That's where the money's at, right? Not like Nike Flyknits or anything like that?
No.
Really?
Now, you can. I mean, I've sold a pair of Jordans. I don't specialize in Jordans. I'm not going to pass up on a pair of Jordans without researching it. But I would say 75% of my shoes are shoes and boots. Well,
that's a little revelation of the show right there.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was just all kinds of shoes. So mostly leather.
It is all kinds. I mean, there are like women's Tory Burch. The designer. I have a lot of that. Women's Danskos. I mean, Bourne's, Clark's. I'll still do those because you can still flip those for $25 to $30 as well.
You do have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to shipping because you're in Dallas, so like either coastline is not exactly a killer. And I'm with you because I live in Austin and I know what it feels like.
You are so right about that.
Yeah. So we don't have to worry about there's not a single shoe. Well, a boot could be maybe 25 at most, but that would be it. Like there's nothing anywhere above that. Any of those.
I know it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to live in Seattle and have to ship over to New York.
Oh.
See, I'm in Connecticut. The majority of my customers order from like California. And,
exactly. Sure.
I sell a lot of stuff that's first class though, but it is a killer when it's just too big and you can't get it into like a flat rate. It's brutal. There's been times where I said to myself, crap, why did I not offer like Smart Post? Because it's just
crazy.
Brutal. Hey, let me ask you, I don't know if we have this on the outline, I forgot, but how many hours a week would you say you're actually going out sourcing?
Right now, we'll see, our business has kind of changed because at the end of it was actually January of this year, I lost my best employee to the oil field. He wanted to make more money. So great guy, great employee, but I'm not going to hold anybody back. Go for it. Even if I try to hold him back, I couldn't. So he left. He went to go make more money. And then right after that, I lost the other employee. Her heart wasn't in it, and she's a good person, but let her go. And then 1 week later, my son was born. So talk about the biggest hit I have ever experienced doing this. Lost my whole crew and my baby's being born. And it was tough. At that point, we had a little over 2,200 pairs of shoes listed. And then I just rode that wave for 3 months and really didn't list anything for 3 months and just shipping out every day. And that was it. That's all I had time for at that point. So what was your question? I just took off.
Yeah, well, I have, the question was about how many hours a week you were, but I wanted to ask you so it doesn't, fall off my mind. When you weren't listing at all, did you feel like your sales went down? Because I've always kind of had this bro science idea that if you're not listing, you almost get pushed down in the algorithm. Did you notice any difference at all in terms of your quantity and everything and your average items per day selling versus, when you're typically listing versus not listing? Any difference or?
You know, I've heard that from so many resellers.
It's just a guess though. Like I have no data to back that up really. Like I've had like
and I don't either,
instances.
but I would say it was like every other day. It was like, what, 3 items? It's because we're not listing. That's why I know it. Like, Raiken Profit was right. And then the next day we'll sell 15 items. And I'm like, well, I don't know. So it was just, it was just a roller coaster. So, you know, that's I don't know if that's a myth. I don't know. But, you know, we survived.
There was a question in the feed. What do you use to sanitize the shoes? Is it the spray stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a spray stuff. I actually buy it in bulk at Lowe's, and it's a disinfectant, and I just dump it in one of these spray bottles. And
wait, you dump it in a spray bottle, but you're dealing with leather. So are you shooting it inside the shoe?
No, I spray it on a rag, and then what I do is I just take that rag and just push it right on the inside, and that takes care of like a lot of cobwebs if there's a spider in it or whatever. I just get that out.
Weirdest thing you've ever found in a shoe? What's it been?
I don't know, maybe like a clump of hair or something. Nothing. It wasn't like a porno or anything. So.
Like a dead mouse.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, okay, so back to the original question. As I threw like 20 different curveballs at you, how many hours per week on average? I know your business model's changed and everything, but you know, you could talk about both situations when you had employees versus not, and vice versa. But you know, on average, how many hours a week are you out there sourcing? Because I know there's people out here watching, and I'm the same type of guy. I watch these videos and I get all excited, but sometimes these business models just aren't for everybody. Like bottom line, like it just takes too much time or too many.
Right.
You need like certain like advantages and stuff. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, there are pros and cons to it. I could live with the cons. I could live on that negative side. So I would go out sourcing 3 days a week. The remaining, when you own your own business, you work 7 days a week. But I don't work all day long every day. You know, I'll go out sourcing and I'll goof off the last half of the day sometimes. You know, it just depends on what's on my plate for that day. But I'll go sourcing 3 days a week. But on like this past Saturday, I went out. I was there when the first thrift store opened, and I stayed out till 9 o'clock at night, and I found
wow.
Yeah, I found 196 pairs of shoes. And that's just on a Saturday. So I went back out.
That's it? I'm just kidding.
You know, so yeah. But then again, Monday and Tuesday, and what's today? Wednesday? My gosh, I'm still cleaning some of those shoes. So
can a police officer pull you over if you can't even see out your car? Like there's just too much. Do you think is that a violation? No, right?
I tell you what, I've done a lot of road trips. I don't know, and that's my biggest fear of getting pulled over and them searching my car, because I'll have 300 pairs of shoes in my car.
What a freak! That's what they're thinking.
Right.
You have a foot fetish, young man.
This guy must be a cobbler. Anyway, all right. So that's how you deal with the smell of the shoes. How important is it to really spend some time prepping these leather shoes? Will it make a huge difference in the end versus your time spent? I'd imagine you get really fast at it, right?
I'm extremely fast at it. I got it down to a science. But one thing, my biggest enemy is that clock. You know, if I know it's going to take a lot of extra time cleaning it, I pass on the shoe, because that time is going to eat me up. I'm very efficient in what I do. So like if I see a pair of shoes that has cat hair in it, but it doesn't smell, yeah, I could remove all that cat hair with a brush. But am I gonna make money on that? No. So there are some things that I do pass up on because it's gonna take too much time.
Let's take it back to that Saturday. You spend 12 hours sourcing, okay?
Yeah.
You bring it home. How many hours until the shoes are accurately marked or in their bins or where they need to be found, not including the shipping, right? Because it's probably pretty easy to locate once you have a good system. But how many hours to list, research, clean, everything? Would you say it's a fraction of those 12 hours?
It's a very minute. Like there's a lot of shoes that I don't have to clean. So I pull those out first, because I had an employee coming in Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning, to where I pulled out, 25 or 30 pairs of shoes for her to list that day. And then what I'll do is then I start cleaning, and a lot of it's just wiping it down, getting that surface done, do a quick, shine buff on it.
Oh yeah, that thing's awesome.
And then this is a must if you're cleaning shoes, and it's just edge dressing. So what I'll do is I'll just take out, go around the edge here with that edge dressing.
With your finger, or like a cotton swab, or what?
Yeah, it actually has a.
Oh, okay.
Has it on there. It's built on. So.
Okay, Raiken, we need to get that thing.
Yeah.
We need to get some edge dressing, Raiken.
Private label it.
So.
Yeah.
But I can flip through that really fast. And I'll get pissed off because sometimes I won't spend the time to think, okay, how long is it going to take me to do this shoe? And I underestimate that at the thrift store, and then I'm here in the office cussing like, man, I can't believe I bought this pair of shoes. This is me off, So
there's a remark from Breach Shop. It says shoes seem like hard work. Anything. They're not hard work. Even if I deal on the polar opposite of the shoes that he deals with, and I can tell you right now, if once you get it down to a science, I mean, it's fast, it's easy. It's definitely not hard work like measuring shirts, putting on mannequins or anything like that. No. This is much easier than that.
I totally agree. Totally. That's why I do shoes.
Yeah, shoes are completely different than clothing. They're one and done, hardly ever returned.
The hardest part about this business is building a system, getting it set up to where it flows. That's the hardest part. And, sometimes that doesn't click in some people's head. But, my wife is, she's structured, brain just like how I am. And we could come up with a system to where it's flawless. And that's what, if you could do that, then you got it going on.
Yep. And you got to remember these three numbers, 1586. That's the shoebox. 1586. 1586 and just weigh it and you're done. Okay. So I already know all that. But that's funny because the shoebox is literally it's like them helping you with your shoe business. They're just, the USPS just built you a shoebox to do your business with. It's easy. It's free. It is free. You don't pay for it. It gets shipped to your door in quantities of 25 and 50, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I want to let people know because there's some people saying hit the like button. We're 8 likes away, and we're going to be holding that contest. And I've got a really fun idea for everybody to enter in.
What's the prize, Raiken?
Yeah, so we've got 390-something people watching live right now. So, jeez. Tino, man, you brought the heat. Tino does not play around with shoes, and he does not play around with bringing the heat to a live show. So we're going to be giving away 2 months free to the Green Room, and that's our private membership group that we have. Once you get in there, you're going to be able to pretty much access all of our books, courses, tons of training videos, bolo videos, our community. So you're going to get 60 days of that, which, if you can't make money with that, you can't make money with anything. There's a ton of information in there. So once we hit 200 likes, which we already have, we passed it. When should we have that contest? When do you think?
I think we should do it earlier than later because we have obligations at 8 o'clock to do something else.
So, want to do it right now?
We could do it right now. That's fine. 401. I would honestly say that this show is rivaling, getting close to the Nicole State show.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
You are right under Jason T. Smith. Jason T. Smith was like 437 or something. I don't know, something like that. But he was a wonderful guest. I always like having him on. But you are right behind him. So that's pretty interesting. All about shoes, huh?
Yeah.
What do you say? So let's do this contest now, Raiken.
Yeah, so in order to enter, you guys have to hit the like button. And also, you've got to go over to Tino's page. It's in the description. Subscribe to Tino here. And that's, Tino The Sole Advisor. Subscribe to his channel if you win. You'll be eligible for it. So make sure you subscribe to him. But what I want you guys to say right now in the comments, and Chris, you're gonna have to choose a random person, okay?
Okay. I don't like doing the random thing.
Do it, Chris.
I like getting the first person that comments first. That's like a clear winner. But we can do whatever.
That's not fair though, because there's so many people.
Okay. So we have 400 people watching right now. I'll just watch the feed. I'll do a snapshot and I'll get the middle of the snapshot. Okay.
So what I want you guys to say, and Chris is going to pick a random winner. You have to type in the comments right now. I love Tino's Cobbler. Just type it in. I love Tino's Cobbler. And if you guys think I'm being perverted, I'm not. It's an inside joke. I know it sounds very.
You want to copy and paste that thing in a couple seconds because I will do the snapshot. Whoever's in the middle of the page will be the winner.
So I don't know if anybody loves Tino's Cobbler. Nope, you can't just say Cobbler. You got to say I love Tino's Cobbler because we're giving away 2 months to the Green Room. Holy crap.
It's almost there. Not yet. It's getting there. No one's writing it out yet.
We got to wait a couple seconds, but Tino's going to choose when to have you screenshot it, and you're going to pick a random winner in that screenshot.
Right. But if you do too many, be careful. If you do too many, you're going to be they'll throttle you. YouTube will throttle you, so be careful.
Do you see the comments, Tino?
Yeah, it's going nuts.
No, I don't know how to see the comments here.
Dude, you got to open up the secondary feed, man. This is
this thing is going. It's like the stock market. When I was trading, this is how it kind of was. Anyway,
here, I'll put the. I don't have the link here.
I think I can do it here. Let's see.
Yeah, just type in Raiken Profit and the live show should be up. You've got it. People are just, they love your cobbler, man.
All right, in the next 10 seconds, Tino, tell me when. Go, guys. You better go fast. Tell me when in the next 10 seconds, all right? And I'll snap the shot.
Okay, right now.
Okay, let me look at the picture.
Somebody on YouTube's like,
okay, so
admins, they're watching like, what the heck?
Lil Cali won. There were 9 people showing on this picture, and that's the middle person is Lil Cali.
Wow.
Lil Cali won.
So Lil Cali, what you're going to have to do is send us a email over at support@greenroomuniversity.com. Right? Is that our email? Is that our support email?
Yeah, Marty, we have a guy handling it. That's why.
So support@greenroomuniversity.com, and just send a screenshot of inside of your YouTube so we know it's you, because we always get a couple people sending a message. So send us an email there, and you will claim your prize. So we'll get you into the green room for 2 months.
Cobbler. Wow, that was a very, very, very fast.
Did you like that idea? Was that a good one?
Yeah, that's a good one. I like the snapshot thing because now I don't feel like I just like made some things up or whatever. Like I saw the person's name. It's on a screenshot. So cool. Well, let's get a couple more of these questions done. We ready to go?
Someone says, I hate Tino's Cobbler. Darn. They make everyone happy.
No, but that's, it's a good way that it makes it very random. I like that. So, so this is a really interesting question. I like this because this pertains to a lot of the leather type shoes, and this becomes kind of hard sometimes. How do you remove thrift store writing on soles of shoes?
Right. The main writing that they use is with a grease pen. I don't know if that's what they use down in Austin, but it's with a grease pen.
It's like a colored thing, right? It's like it can be blue, red, or it could be black, right?
Right. Now, when that's the case, if it's on like a rubber sole, I use petroleum jelly. So this is $2.50, and this will last me probably 6 to 9 months. So it rubs right off. Now, if it's
okay, cool.
Yeah, if it's a Sharpie, it's going to take a lot more time. And
what do you use for a Sharpie?
I'll use the same thing. I'll use the same thing. Yeah, but man, you got to scrub it hard.
Yeah, because some of it goes into the leather, right? It like sponges into it, right?
Well, if you're doing leather shoes to where it's you have this right here, you don't want to use petroleum jelly because that'll soak into that leather.
Okay.
And then you're just gonna have a grease spot right here, so you got to be really careful about that. What I do on leather shoes is mineral spirits.
Jeez. Okay.
So yeah, use mineral spirits, and then what I have is like a sander block right here, and you could just
system after system, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's done.
Figure it out.
So when you're doing all that kind of stuff, do you have like the Breaking Bad mask on and everything? Like, because all these little particles of stuff are flying all over the place.
I'll step outside to do a lot of the sanding and stuff like that. But no, to be honest with you, I enjoy all the fumes. I have a good time doing it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. He enjoys all the fumes. He's like flying on a kite.
Oh man. So you list your shoe. How do you list your shoes on eBay? Do you always create a brand new listing, or are you echoing off someone's listing that has strong keywords at the top and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I create my own keywords, but I think it's really important for everyone, not just if you're selling shoes, is to copy another listing because half the work is already done. And another thing is you're going to pick up other ideas from other sellers. So
when you say copy, like it seems like you go into one cell, put in another cell. It's not like that. It's called sell similar. That's the copy you're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Sure.
Right.
Yeah, where all the item specifics are already in. You just have to be careful to change it. Like if you're copying like a new item, change it to say, hey, mine is pre-owned. So. That's
right.
So yeah.
And there is no like button on eBay where it says, does it have an odor or not? So if it does have a weird odor or something, you're going to have to describe that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. Those expensive pair of shoes, the $300 ones, if they had a little smell that you couldn't get rid of, you would describe it, but then how much off of a top end price could an odor affect the shoe, for example?
I think quite a bit. I have had sold some odor shoes and some that had a really bad odor. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the foamposites, basketball shoes, Nike foamposites. But anyways, those bring in quite a bit of money. But man, they stunk so bad, and I was debating, can I sell them if they stink, And I didn't even want to give them to my employee at the time because he'd probably like, I quit, So I listed them, and normally they would sell for $180 that certain pair. I ended up selling them for $45.
Oh wow!
So it depreciated just because they stunk so bad.
Jeez. So about the pictures of your shoes. Clearly, with someone with 2,200 shoes, you're going to have a system down. You clearly have a system down when it comes to the pictures. What are you using? A photography cue? What are you doing?
No, I actually, I have, it's 3 lights. Each light has 4 bulbs in it. I don't know what the wattage is, but I found it on Amazon. But it's 3 different directions.
Okay.
And I think they're called, I don't know. What
Cowboy Studio, probably.
Yeah, it's not the umbrellas, but it's it's a shade that has a kind of like a diffuser over the front of it.
Okay.
So
okay. Does it look kind of like that thing in the background right there of mine?
That's exactly it. What's the name of that?
These are Cowboy Studios. These are really cheap.
That's exactly what I got. So I got 3 of those. One's facing down.
One's the one
and
down.
One's on the side. Yeah.
Right.
And I just have it on a dresser, and I have 2 foam boards, and I have a backdrop that just lays over the top of that. So.
Jeez. You know, it's gonna be kind of weird. Like if a thief goes to your house to like burglarize it, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're gonna get paid," and then they go in there like, "What the hell's going on in this house?"
Free for all. Grab all the shoes.
Get all the.
It like falls off. The shoes fall over and just like traps the burglar in the garage.
With a trail of shoes going to like whatever house he took it to. So let's talk about. Do you list your shoes mostly buy it now or auction?
All buy it now.
Buy it now. Okay,
Best
always
offer?
buy it now. Yeah, best offer.
Shoes. On shoes.
You do best offer, like Raiken said?
No, I don't do best offer. And that's one thing. If I absolutely have to get rid of something, I'll put it at best offer. You know, just kind of get it out. You know, or if I want to just get some cash flow going, I'll do best offer. But as of right now, I never really had to do that. So it's buy it now, take it or leave it. If you don't like my price, you could send me an offer. What was that?
Do you run sales on your store all the time?
All the time, and I use that as a merchandising factor there.
Right. It's like a repricer in a sense. Just hits all of them at once.
Yeah.
Do you have an anchor store at 2,200 listings? I mean, 2,200 things.
Right. I was not at an anchor store, but I was teetering that I was about to pull the plug on the anchor store. But what is it called? The premium store? Or
you have a $60 store then, right? Is that what you have?
Yeah. Right now, that's what I have. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. You get a lot of perks with the $60 store anyway. There are a ton of good perks. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to ordering boxes, it's like, oh man, there's no use, right? What do you just spend it on, tape and stuff then, or
tape.
random stuff?
That's all I buy is tape.
Yeah, because there's no reason to get boxes.
Right. And I'll get some of those poly mailers from Amazon. You know, just when I'm shipping out a pair of Crocs or something that's under £1. You know, I can ship them first class.
Kyle Agha just said, "I love Tino's Cobbler" in the comments. Oh, that's funny, man. It's like 15 minutes late. So what tips do you have for increasing sales in terms of building your listing? Like if you are trying to get more sales, would you go back into any listings, redo keywords, descriptions? What about your return policy?
My return policy, I offer 30-day returns right now.
Wow.
Yeah, 30-day returns. So if they want to rent the shoes from me, I don't mind. You know. So, but I'm sitting at less than 4% return. I'm fine with that. You know, at 30, I was devastated because I wanted to keep the top rated status. And when I went from 14 or 15 days up to 30, my gosh, man, I was like, man, what am I going to do? I did it. Same results.
Nothing happened, right? Yeah.
Nothing happened.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So I think the key is to reduce returns, take quality pictures. And if you're selling shoes, minimum of 10 pictures, and that leaves you 2.
Wow.
So that's just how we structured it there, and it helps. So, and you know, to increase sales, you know, all of these are really good ways to do it. You know, ship within 1 business day, all of this. But I think the number one key to increase sales is to list continuously. Do not. I mean, you're gonna get discouraged. Because you're like, man, I just listed 30 pairs of shoes yesterday or 30 pairs of pants, and I didn't sell anything. Well, that means list 30 more pairs of shoes or 30. Never stop. Just keep going. And if you have everything in line, it'll follow you. It works.
It's amazing. Items just pop randomly, like 2 months later, like something will pop, and you'll be like, "Was that ever going to sell?" And it pops. You know.
I know. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Just the right person coming around at the right time, you know. It's amazing, man. That's the best advice that anyone could ever give. Just list more, you know.
Right.
So this is pretty much the tail end of the show. We might have to get you on for a part 2 because it seems like there's a bazillion questions that we did not get to in the feed. I never knew that shoes were going to be such a crazy topic, but we almost took down the Jason T. Smith show. We almost did, but maybe part 2. We'll get you on in maybe a month or 2 when you have 6,000 shoes in your house, and then we'll get you back on. Man, it's an incredible story. I mean, you have a lot of. I thought the turning point for me was like when he did mostly like leather type shoes, not so much athletic based. And I was like, wow,
I wasn't expecting that either.
Cool. Or when I saw the FootJoys, I mean, I knew they were FootJoys, but those were really cool. And I was like, man, I do see those. It's just like I don't really think sometimes go over to the FootJoys. I always think they're going to be $25 every time I go up to them.
Sure. Yeah.
And probably with Raiken too. Like they're just marked up all the way. So
yeah.
But yes, regrettably we can't get to much Q&A today. We have some plans in about 3 minutes. I'll leave you guys with a little bit of housekeeping. Our green room meetup is coming on July 15th. If you are in the green room, you do need a ticket to go to the meetup. So make sure you look at the posts regularly in the next week. Even today, I did put the ticket post up. You definitely need a ticket to attend the seminar and the actual meetup itself, which is 6 hours long, the main event out on a ranch in Texas. It's going to be awesome. You have to check that out. Go get tickets. It's in the green room now. If you want part of the green room hotel deal, there's only like, I don't know, 5 to 8, maybe like Friday and Saturday slots left. Like that's it. You have to go to Lone Star Court. There's a specific green room code. Find it in the room and get your hotel stay booked. Yep. And it's with a amazing hotel that is not a chain. It's an amazing hotel. Been featured on the Travel Channel. It is legit. Raiken went to it. I took him there. It's really pretty. So that's coming down the line. I think that's pretty much it. Raiken, are you going to be at the Rocky Mountain Reseller Conference? Yes or no? Denver?
I'm not sure yet. I want to go. I definitely want to go. So cool. we'll talk about that behind the scenes. Yeah, that's pretty much it, though. If you guys liked this video, like the video. Make sure to go over to Tino's YouTube channel, Tino The Sole Advisor. It's the 3rd link in the description. Go subscribe to him. He's got tons of videos over there. Also, the first link is a free book we have, 100 amazing items to resell. So if you check the description, we've got some free goodies in there for you guys. So yeah, check those out. We appreciate you guys. Have a great night. Tino, thanks for coming on, man. You were awesome. Really do appreciate you coming on and taking your time. And best of luck with the business and everything. And we'll be in touch soon. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. All right. Bye.